Hello everyone, today we are going to start with the topic optics. Optics means we are going to discuss about all the phenomena that are related to the light. Reflection, refraction you might have heard from, but apart from that there are many other phenomena which light undergo, and more details about them we will be studying here. Apart from the reflection and refraction, dispersion, interference, diffraction, polarization and the photoelectric effect. These are the main phenomena related to the nature of light, or you may say these are the phenomena which light undergo. So regarding all these phenomena, we'll be seeing the mathematical aspects, and we'll try to note that where do we observe all these phenomena in our everyday life. So to begin with the optics, I would like to present you first the concise map that what exactly we are going to discuss in this series. So earlier related to the optics, reflection was very well demonstrated by the Newton, his corpuscular theory had explained the reflection. Corpuscular theory, it states that the light is made up of some small particles. After Newton's corpuscular theory, which had successfully explained reflection, there came a Huygens. He gave his wave theory, or he gave his wave principle, on the basis of which refraction could be explained. Refraction as well as dispersion, as well as diffraction, as well as interference. These were the phenomena which were explained on the basis of Huygens theory. And then there came the Maxwell's electromagnetic explanation. So based on the Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, right, photoelectric effect, based on Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, polarization was explained very well. And then the Planck's quantum theory was able to explain the photoelectric effect as well the Compton effect. So this is the broader view of the optics, right? We are going to discuss all these terms, reflection and refraction, in the terms of ray, right? And then we will be discussing reflection and refraction on the terms of waves, that is in the terms of wavefront, right? Maxwell's electromagnetic theory is totally different. It's again related to the wave nature of the light, right? This also related to the wave nature. This one is also related to the wave nature. And Planck's quantum theory resembles somewhat with the Newton's corpuscular theory. These things, they are based on the wave nature, and this last one, they are based on the particle nature. Finally, when the de Broglie gave his dual nature concept, right, that the light can behave as a particle, it is a particle, as well as it can be converted into equivalent wave. Conversely, a high speed wave can conversely be represented in the form of particle. He gave the equations for the interconversions, and finally the de Broglie's dual nature was successfully able to explain all of these phenomena. So to start the study of this phenomenon, we'll begin with the reflection. Reflection, simple definition we have that it is the bouncing back of the light ray, right, after striking a surface. If it is polished, maximum reflection takes place. If the surface is rough, irregular reflection takes place, as well as some part is absorbed, right? Apart from the reflection, right, when the light falls on the surface, it may be absorbed, it may be transmitted, or it may be reflected back. Most of the time all the three things happen, but one of the thing is dominant. Let's say if this polished surface, if you take 50 to 60% light, it is reflecting back, it is somewhat absorbing, and no refraction at all. If you take a glass, right, maximum light is refracted, that is transmitted inside, very less amount is reflected back, and very less amount is absorbed. So reflection, it means bouncing back. Bouncing back may be 100% or may not be 100%. It depends upon the surface. To understand the reflection, we have the laws of reflection. Laws of reflection help us to calculate about the angles. So let's say you have a incident ray falling onto the surface. At the point of incidence, you draw a normal. This incident ray bounces back. This bounced back ray, we call it as a reflected ray. The angle between the incident ray and the normal, we call it as angle of incidence. The angle between the normal and the reflected ray, we call it as an angle of reflection. Laws of reflection, the first point, it says that angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. It can be proved, right? You can take a plane mirror, place the pins, try to see pins from the opposite side, right? Markings, then drawing the line, measuring the angle will easily help you to prove that angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. Then the another point of the law of reflection is that incident ray, reflected ray and the normal, they lie in the same plane. All three of them, right, they remain within the plane. Let's say if the incident ray is on this board, right, reflected ray will remain on this board and the normal will also be drawn on this board. So incident ray and reflected ray and the normal, they lie in the same plane. Angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. Then let us see more details about the reflection in plane mirror. In case of the plane mirror, right, the first point that we have is number of images formed. Number of images formed when the two mirrors are inclined at some angle theta. Let's say I have a mirror 1, mirror 2, they are making an angle of 30 degree with each other. Right, this is the plane mirror M1 and this is the plane mirror M2. Both of them are making angle 30 degree. So number of images formed will be 360 by 30 minus 1. So it will be 11 images are seen. This is the formula for number of images. Those are seen in the plane mirror. Then the second important point regarding the reflection in the plane mirror is that the height of the mirror required is always half of the height of object to be seen, right? If I want to see myself fully in any mirror, the height of the mirror, it must be half my size, at least half the size. If it is more than that, no issues, but at least half the size. So if I am 6 feet in height, the mirror, its height must be 3 feet. Then the third one we have characteristics of image formed in plane mirror. So when the image is formed in the plane mirror, what are the properties of the image? So we have the first property we have is that the object distance, right? Object distance from the mirror is equals to the image distance. So let's say if you are standing somewhere over here and here you have a plane mirror, its image is formed inside. If this distance is 2 meter, obviously your image inside will also be 2 meter. Another property characteristics we have is the image is laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means left becomes right and the right becomes left. Your left hand will appear as a right hand and your right hand will appear as a left hand. That is the lateral inversion which happens in the case of the plane mirror. The image formed is virtual. Virtual in the sense no screen can be placed, it cannot be photographed, right? When you see inside the mirror, your image is inside it. So inside it, you know that back of the mirror there is nothing. So where you are going to keep your screen, how you are going to capture your image? So virtual image is formed by the plane mirror. And then the fourth one, image is upright. If you stand straight, the image also is straight, right? If you bend down, the image also bends down. So the image formed in the plane mirror is upright. Then next, let us see what is the difference between real image and the virtual image. there are two types of the images formed when we talk about the reflection or we talk about the refraction, right? When we consider two types of the images formed, one is real image and one is the virtual image. Let us see when and how they are formed. So if we talk about the reflection, right, concave mirror forms real image. Most of the times it forms the real image, concave mirror. And convex mirror most of the times forms virtual image. So object is here, so somewhere here the image is formed. So convex mirror, it most of the times, convex mirror for sure forms a virtual image, concave mirror forms a real image most of the times, except the object is between focal length and the pole. And then real image, it is formed by actual meeting of reflected rays, whereas virtual image, it is formed by reflected rays, they appear to meet. Appear to meet means here this ray is going to reflect back. On the back of it I have just extended. So when such type of extension is required for the image to be formed, right, we say virtual image is formed. Real image, it is always inverted, and virtual image is always erect, or you can also use the word upright as it is formed in the case of the plane mirror, right? So virtual image is always erect, right, and the real image is always inverted. And the fourth one, real image, it can be taken on screen. Example is a camera, right? When you click a picture of someone, right, it gets set onto the film, or you can say it gets set onto the memory card, so it can be taken on screen. And the virtual images cannot be taken on screen. Cannot be taken on screen means it cannot be printed out, right? You may take a selfie, but the selfie is not a complete, it's not a combination of complete reflected rays. So virtual image, it cannot be taken on screen. These are the difference between real image and the virtual images. Next we'll see about the reflection at curved surfaces. Reflection at curved surfaces. When we say a curved surface, right, curved surface may be of two types. One of them is called as a concave surface, and other one it is called as a convex surface. This is a concave mirror or a concave reflecting surface, and this one we call it as a convex mirror, convex reflecting surface. Here if you see, the reflection is taking on the cave side, here the reflection is taking on the bulging side. That is why we call it as a convex mirror. Here the polishing is done on the bulging side, and here the polishing is done on the cave side. So these are the two types of the mirror we have. And then next we have terminologies related to it. So to understand the terminologies, I'll make use of the concave mirror, as the concave mirror is the one which forms maximum different variations when we compare it with the convex mirror. Convex mirror has only one case, that is when you keep the object anywhere, virtual diminished image is formed. But concave mirror has multiple cases. So to begin with, I have drawn a concave mirror, right? The center of which this mirror is the imaginary sphere, the center of imaginary sphere of which this mirror is a part. We call it as a center of curvature. Radius of curvature, the radius of imaginary sphere of which this mirror is a part, we call it as a radius of curvature. Then we have a pole, the center point of the mirror, we call it as a pole. focal length, the half the distance between, half the distance of radius of curvature, we call it as a focal length. Then we have this point focus. Focus, it is a point where rays of light after reflection they meet or appear to meet. Focus, it is a point where rays of light after reflection they meet or appear to meet. Then we have a principal axis. It is an imaginary line which connects center of curvature and the pole, or you can say focal focus and the pole. Principal axis, it's an imaginary line which connects or which passes through center of curvature and the pole. These are the terminologies to explain more regarding this ray appearing to pass through focus or actually passing through focus. So in case of this concave mirror, right, the ray is actually passing through the focus. But if I take the case of a convex mirror, in this case, right, the focus is here. Whichever side the sphere could be, on that side we have a focus. So for a ray of light coming, it gets reflected back, and this reflected ray appears to be passing from the focus. So these are the terminologies related to the curved surfaces, or you can say reflection at the curved surface. And then next we have a sign convection. All the formulas that relate to this chapter or relate to the optics, they all follow these sign convections. Sign convections means when you place an object in front of the mirror, what type of image is formed, where exactly it is formed, its position, its distance. When we do calculations related to it, we need to use a Cartesian coordinate system. That means the plus and minus sign are important. So you can call it as a sign convection, or you can also call it as a Cartesian coordinate system for reflection. Any name you can call it up. So in order to measure the distances, right, the Cartesian coordinate system is applied. Its first point says that all the distances are measured from pole. What do we mean by this point? It means that when you start measuring the distance, let's say if you want to measure the focal length, the zero mark of the scale must be compulsory at the pole. Ultimately, pole, it is the origin if you compare it with the mathematical coordinate system. So all the distances, they are measured from pole. Zero of the scale is kept over here, compulsory. Either you do measurement in this direction or you do measurement in left to right direction. Then second one, distance is measured in direction of incident light are taken as positive, and vice versa. So here if you see, right, the ray of light, its direction is from left to right. So the direction of measurement from left to right, it is taken as positive, otherwise it is taken as negative. To understand this point, I'll draw a diagram of the concave mirror, right? Focus, center of curvature, this would be the focal length f, this would be the radius of curvature r. Let's say if I keep a object over here, right, its real image will be formed somewhere here, right? You can, if you want, you can draw up the diagram, and other one passing through focus after reflection will meet over here. So all the distances are measured from the pole, and distance measured in the direction of the incident light is taken as positive. So we have an object over here. In which direction the incident light will go? The incident light, it will go from left to right. So direction left to right is taken as positive, and direction from right to left, it is taken as negative. So if we try to implement it here, the radius of curvature, it will be measured from the pole and in the negative direction. So minus r, the value of r will be minus. Similarly, the pole also will be measured, focal length will also be measured from the pole, but in the direction of negative, or you can say in the opposite direction of the incident ray. So these both of them, they are taken as positive, negative. Height of the object, the third point, distance measured above principal axis are taken as positive, and all those distances are measured below are taken as negative. So height of the object measured, it will be taken as positive since it is above the principal axis, and height of the image, if it is in reverse direction, it is below the principal axis, so it will be negative. Object distance, object is here, so this distance denoted by u, it will be negative because it is measured in negative direction. Image distance v, it will again be measured in this direction. We'll put 0 here, we don't have option to go on that side, only this is in this direction the image is. So we'll start measuring from here, 1 2 3 4, whatever value comes up, right, it is denoted by the v, but that value will be negative as per the rule. So this is how the sign convection is applied in all the cases. If we try to implement the sign convection, this was the case I have taken when the concave mirror, right, concave mirror forms a real image. Now let me try to apply this sign convection to the concave mirror when it forms a virtual image. So to understand it, once again I'll draw a concave mirror. Concave mirror forms a virtual image when the object is placed between F and P. So the first ray of the light, it will pass through the focus after reflection, and another ray of light, passing through the center of curvature, right, will retrace back its path. So here we can see the reflected rays, they are diverging, they are not meeting. So this reflected rays, when we produce in the forward direction, they will form a virtual image over here. Now let us try to implement the sign convection, right? Again same thing, the direction of the incident ray, we know that the direction of the incident ray, it is from left to right, it is positive, and opposite direction will be taken negative. So focal length will be negative, radius of curvature will be negative, object distance u will be negative, but the image distance v will be positive. So that is how the sign convections are applied. After the sign convection, we have a relationship between R and F. Radius of curvature and focal length, what is the relation between them? So to understand the relation between them, once again I will make use of the concave mirror. And in this case of the concave mirror, let's say the ray of light is coming from the object. Here we have a focus, here we have center of curvature. So in which direction the light will go, how to decide? So at a point of incidence, we draw a normal. Normal in case of the curved surfaces will for sure pass through center of curvature. It's the most important point. The normal, for sure it will pass through the center of curvature. After reflection, the reflected ray will travel through the focus.